Hey guys, Todd with Simmons Sporting Goods here with another Tech Tuesday. Today I want to talk arrows for just a minute. You know, we get guys coming in and they're asking about arrows, new arrows, changing arrows. Hey, this is the arrow I've been shooting for years, and I just want to explain a few misconceptions about arrows because I have guys that come in and they said, hey, I need a 300 grain arrow. And really they're talking about a 300 spine. So the spine is the stiffness of the arrow, how stiff the arrow is. And so the lower the number typically would be the stiffer the spine. So like a 260 would be a really stiff spine. This right here is a 340 spine arrow, eastern axis, a 5mm. The 5mm is the diameter, how big around it is. Here I've got a gold tip. This is a Hunter XT. That means it's a 003 straightness. This is a 340 also, and we were talking about the weight, so that weight, the grains, is really what we kind of want to match. Whenever you bring in your arrow, we want to make sure it's the same spine, so the same stiffness, and that depends on your draw length. That depends on how many pounds you're shooting or how many pounds you're pulling, how much front weight or forward weight you have up here. So the more weight you add, the stiffer the arrow needs to be. So this particular arrow, this 340 spine, 5mm, is 9.5 grains per inch. That means so for every inch of this arrow, it's 9.5 grains heavy, or that's the weight of it. So depending on how long you cut this arrow, is how much it's going to weigh. Take another, this gold tip, this Hunter XT, it's a 340 spine, so the same stiffness, but the weight on it's going to be a little bit different. It's 8.9 grains per inch. A Carbon Express, very popular Maxima red arrow. This is a 350 spine, so this would be comparable to the 340 in the Easton and also in the gold tip. But this one is actually 9.1 grains per inch, so it's a little bit heavier. And then the 350 spine in the Victory is 8.8 grains per inch. So all these are very similar in stiffness, but they weigh, each one of them weigh a little bit different. That weight is going to make a difference in your shooting, whether it's heavier or lighter. Heavier arrow, of course, is going to be a little bit slower, but more impact, more kinetic energy. A lighter arrow is going to be faster. Another thing to note about this is guys come in and they're looking for lighted nocks or nocturnals, illuminated nocks. The nock is going to be different because the inside diameter of the arrow is going to be different. So take a 5mm arrow, whether it's the RIP TKO or the Axis 5mm, maybe an FMJ 5mm. If you're running any of those, that's going to be an X nock. If you're hunting with a Carbon Express Maxima, those are going to be a Maxima Red. Those are going to be an S nock, unless you're running the Maxima Red SD, so that's their smaller diameter arrow, and it's going to be an X nock also. Gold Tip has their own. It's a GT, unless you're running like a Kinetic Pierce or an Airstrike, and then those are going to be the smaller. 4mm arrows. That's a new thing. So these micro diameters, a lot of guys are moving to the micro diameter. I'm actually shooting a 4mm Eastern Axis this year, and they actually take a G nock. So all of these things are just things to consider whenever maybe you're thinking about upgrading arrows, or maybe you just want to replace your arrows. Make sure whenever you go to the shop, make sure if they say, well, that arrow, I mean, a lot of times the guy will come in and they don't make that arrow anymore. Take, for instance, the Carbon Express, the Blue Streak, or the Maxima Blue. Don't make that arrow anymore, but they've replaced it with something, or maybe they can find something similar. Just make sure you got the same spine, so that's the stiffness, and that's going to be like a 300, a 340, a 350, a 400, or even a 500. So 500 would be not as stiff, but those are going to be for lightweight draws for young archers, maybe kids, youth, even lady archers. Make sure all that's the same, and then make sure the grains per inch, make sure your weight is the same. Just a few tips to think about on our Tech Tuesday. Hope you're already in the woods. Good luck to all you guys out there. Don't forget to come register your buck at our Simmons Big Buck Contest. Come see us. We'd love to talk to you about arrows and what arrow you need to shoot. And check us out on our website at simmonssportinggoods.com.